This is so unhinged. This is so ridiculous. It could have been that book for me if it just had different things going on in the story. There's just a lot in this book. Hey guys, so I just finished out my last vlog. So I kind of look the same as if you saw that last one, but I am going to do another reading vlog. It is Sunday, the 2nd of June, and I think I'm just going to try to do this Sunday to Sunday, just see how much I can get read. I feel like that's really helped me. The last vlog, it really helped me. I read 3 books, well, 3 books and a bit. And yeah, I'm enjoying, I'm in the reading moment and the mood. I think summer, I tend to like to read a lot of books. Right now I'm reading You Again by Kate Goldbeck. I don't have any other books that I'm currently reading. And I think that works best for me when I don't have multiple books that I've started reading. Any books that I did start reading, I've just put back on my shelves. I just can't look at them right now because obviously I did not want to finish them, right? So I'm really in the mood to read a romance. This is a romance. It's more of a, I would say, kind of enemies to lovers type of, or like friends to lovers in a way. I'm up to page 97, and basically we follow Ari and Josh, and they have a chance meeting. He is going out with her then roommate, and they just are very snide to each other and don't really like each other very much. He's quite I don't know, judgmental, I would say at first, and she's just, you know, she's just young and free, more free than he is. He's quite a rigid person. That's basically their characters. And then I think that's like the only time that they meet, and then it's like 3 or 4 years later, I'm not entirely sure. They meet again when he is a sous chef at a restaurant, and she's waiting for her different roommate, because she has a different roommate now, to finish off work, and then he ends up firing her roommate or whatever, and then they have like this moment where she throws her drink at him, and then that was the only time they saw each other. And then I think it's like 3 or 4 years later after that, they meet again at a party. I think it's a New Year's party, and then we are 4 years or 3 years after that, somewhere around there. I think she's about maybe 29 at this point, and he's like in his 30s. I think that's where the age is at the moment, so a good age range for me. And I don't know if we're gonna skip ahead again, but yeah, I'm on page 97, and I just agreed that they met again on a chance meeting at a store, and they just suggested to go have a drink somewhere. So they've basically been enemies, but now they're gonna probably be friends, and then hopefully fall in love, madly in love with each other. It's like When Harry Met Sally. If you haven't seen that movie, it is a classic, and that's what everyone says this book is. It's like, it's all over the blurb. So I'm assuming it's going to be like that. So we'll see. But I don't know what other books I'm going to read in this vlog. I'm just gonna take it as it comes. You know, I don't have any plans. I'm just gonna read as I like to, and I feel like that is the best way for me. So let's start a new weekly vlog. Let's see how much I can get through, and hopefully maybe I can have some 4 or 5 stars, because I think that'd be really fun. Really had a bad year so far. Only, I think, a handful of books that I've enjoyed out of the, how many books have I read? I don't even know how many books, like 30 something books I've read, and only like 5 books I've liked. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's get started. Hey guys, good morning. It is Tuesday. I am about to start working. It's pretty early in the morning, but I just want to give a little update on You Again. I've been enjoying this. I'm on page 173. I'm like midway through a chapter. I didn't even start a chapter. I just wasn't feeling it. I'm liking this book. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star though. I don't know if I ultimately like the characters all that much, but it is a slow burn, and I do like slow burn romances. So hopefully I will enjoy it. I just, you know what it is? I don't think I like the female character, and I don't think I like the male character either, to be fair. I just think they're kind of unlikable characters, which in a way makes them perfect for each other, but for me, it doesn't build the perfect reading experience. But we'll see, maybe they change. I mean, they are evolving. They're definitely becoming like fast friends right now, but you can definitely feel an underlining tension between the two of them, and they want to hang out all the time. So I'm sure that they're gonna hook up, and then maybe, this is what I'm predicting. So I'm like halfway through, or less than halfway through. I'm assuming that they will hook up, and then they will not be able to be friends, and then maybe a few more years will go by. I'm assuming that's what's gonna happen, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll read a little bit later on, probably during my lunch break. It's only like 9:30 right now, so I gotta work, gotta pay those bills. But yeah, I'll read a little bit later on. Just wanted to update you before I like read more, because I have a habit of just like finishing a book and being like, okay, yeah, I read this book, and then not really telling you anything about the book. There's really not much to tell you though. It's just a enemies to a friendship at the moment, and now it's just going to be a slow burn. That's what I think it's going to be. Hey guys, I appreciate the lighting is pretty bad, but I wanted to give you a heads up on where I am with this book. So I am on page 308. I don't have too much left. I feel like the first third of the book, and I think I spoke to you about this, I wasn't really enjoying the characters, so it was a little bit hard for me to like get into it. It's a very easy book to read. I'm not like hating it or anything, but then I got to a point where they kind of get together. My son is here, he wants to say hello. Anyway, so we're kind of hanging out, but I thought I would talk to you. I do like this book, but I'm not sure if I'm going to end up giving it, oh, sorry if that's going to be annoying. Anyway, I thought I could like run away for like 2 minutes to give you an update, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that. I am liking it, but I think the highest I'm going to be able to give it is a 3.5. I don't think I can give it more than that. So we'll just have to wait and see, but I'll keep this really short because obviously there is a little boy here who needs my attention. But I'm going to read this tonight, and then I think I'm going to grab another book now. I'm not entirely sure what book I want to grab, but I'm just going to grab another book. So I might start reading another book pretty fast. Hey guys, it's the next morning, so it's actually Friday today. I took a really long time to read this book, but I finally finished You Again last night. I was really wanting to like this book. It's not that I don't like it, but I was really wanting it to be that 4 or 5 star romance book that I have been craving to find since I read Book Lovers. Like, Book Lovers to me is the only romance book that I've given 5 stars, and I thoroughly like enjoyed it, like being like a modern sort of book that's nothing to do with like fantasy or anything. So anyway, this definitely had all of the things going for it. So it could have been that book for me if it just had different things going on in the story. So I think my biggest issue that I had with this is I really found the characters to be unlikable throughout the whole book. I was hoping that maybe there would be like an arc and then you'd eventually start liking them, and actually I did start liking the male character a little bit more towards the end. I found him to be a little bit more understanding and a little bit more relatable, as like, and he felt like a real person to me. I feel like Ari didn't ever really feel like a real person to me. I found her to be very flighty as a character, and you know, there are people out there that are like that, and honestly I don't get along with that because I can't handle people like that who just can't seem to get a grasp on their feelings at any point really. And she was incredibly selfish, I felt like, in this book. And yes, she was guarded and whatnot, and people are like that, that's absolutely fine. But reading it, I just got more and more frustrated with her as a character. And I also felt like the pacing of this book wasn't the best, because I think the first half of the book is pretty decent because you kind of flip through all the different like times, and like they really have known each other for a good like 8 years before they actually become friends, or like they've seen each other like passing by and stuff. And that time, like those times of the book, I kind of enjoyed because, you know, it's real life. Sometimes you bump into people that you haven't seen in years, and you're in like completely different stages of your life and stuff. So it was interesting to see that, like how they changed that and managed that, and how their lives changed every time that they bumped into each other. So I know the book One Day does that, but that is across a period of many years, and it's it's less annoying, that book. This book was, it did that, and I thought like the whole book would be like that, and I was hoping the whole book would be like that, and then maybe in like when you get to the third part of the book, that's kind of like when you're in the settled timeline, and maybe, you know, they eventually get together. But really, like, they kind of get together like, or they start becoming friends like midway through the book, and I felt like it was a little too fast. I feel like it was too fast as a reader to get to that point. Because the book is like almost, how long is this book? The book is really long. The book is over 400 pages long. So had the book been 300 pages, I think that would have been fine. But because the book is so long, then you get to that kind of peak in the sort of story where, you know, we're getting that, ooh, like giddy feeling of, oh, you know, they like each other, but they don't realize that they like each other and they're friends and blah, blah, blah. You know, that's like the best part of the book, right? And so we galloped to that best part of the book way too fast in the story. And maybe it's because I like slow burns, I don't really know. But I feel like we got to that point too fast. I thought it was sweet. There were definitely nice moments in that part, but then you have like the third act issue where suddenly, you know, they're not talking and stuff, which happens in all of these romance books. And I was expecting that to happen, but it just went on for ages. It was tiresome to read. And then it was like 2 months later, 3 months later, 5 months later. And it wasn't cute at that point. It just dragged, like the story dragged, and it was for the purpose of just having extra 100 pages or so. It really didn't add any value to the existing story, and I just think it could have been edited down quite a bit to make it a much more enjoyable reading experience, in my opinion. So I really thought I was going to give it like 3.5 to 4 stars, but because it drags so much, and because I really never ended up liking the Ari character, I am giving it a 3-star. It's not like a terrible book. There definitely are moments that is enjoyable, and I do feel sympathetic to the guy character for some reason. I don't know if I should be, but I kind of liked him more throughout the story than I did the woman, and I just don't know why, but I did. So who knows? I just feel like I didn't buy into it at the end of the day, and like the last part of the book is just like, and then there's another last part of the book, like another chapter where it's like a year later, and it's just like, oh, who cares? Who cares at this point, right? So yeah, I feel like it could have been 300 pages, definitely edited down, maybe just keep the existing story but make the girl a little bit more likable, or more likable towards the end, give her a better arc, because I don't think she had a very good one, and I don't know. Hers wasn't very realistic, and she just still at the end of the book, she did still feel very needy, and she didn't feel like she was put together by the time that they end up together, which I think was what the book was trying to say. Like, they were two broken people, and they found this friendship, and they were like, they liked each other, but because they were still broken while they were in that moment, they had to like separate, build themselves up individually, and then get back together. That's basically like, you know, that's not an original story either. Like, every story does that, but I don't feel like she really put herself together. She just got fired from her job, so she was like, oh crap, well, I guess I'll move back to the city then, and then I miss you, blah blah blah. Like, it didn't feel authentic, really, in a way. It just felt like she got fired, so oh crap, well, I'll go back to my old life. Oh yeah, I do miss you. It didn't feel realistic to me. So yeah, I don't know. And then I saw up here, you have a little snippet from Ali Hazelwood, and you know, if you've seen a couple of my my videos, I tried reading a couple books from Ali Hazelwood, and they're just not for me. So, you know, it's just unfortunate. I thought this book would have a little bit more maturity to it, which I think it did. Compared to Ali Hazelwood, it definitely did. So that's why I was excited about it. I was enjoying it, and I've heard such good things about this book, so I really did put it on a pedestal. But at the end of the day, it's just a mediocre book, and it's just 3 stars. So anyway, I will that was a lot, but I asked my partner yesterday to pick 3 random books from my shelves because I'm really struggling. I don't know which books to pick. I know I wanted to pick a lot of hardbacks, but it doesn't look like I'm picking any hardbacks this week because I didn't even want to go to my shelves to pick it. So he was like, second shelf, 4th book, third shelf, 6th book. And I'm like, well, what if I've already read it? He's like, just go to the one on the right. So I followed his stupid little instructions, and he ended up directing me to all of these books. So we've got Bunny from Mona Awad, and then I got the Satsuma Complex from Bob Mortimer, and then Belladonna by Adeline Grace. And then so I grabbed them on, and then I showed him. I was like, pick a book. And he's like, I thought you wanted 3. I was like, yeah, but I don't know which one to read first. So he decided to pick Bunny first. So I started reading Bunny last night. I've read about 30 pages. So far, I don't know what to think about this book. Now, I don't know anything about this story. I have a feeling that, and this is a spoiler, I mean, maybe it's a spoiler, maybe it actually is the case, but just going into it, I feel I'm getting the sense that she is an unreliable narrator, but I don't really know, so I might be completely off with that. But anyway, so I read 30 pages. I thought it was kind of interesting. I've tabbed a couple of things. I like the description of certain things. There's some gory descriptions that are a little bit like within a normal paragraph, she adds like some gruesome metaphors or whatever, and you're like, well, that's a little bit weird. Like, there is a dark undertone, but not in a serious way. And I just say it's satirical, so hopefully I'm enjoying this. Hopefully I will like it. But yeah, only on page 31, chapter 4. I read a little bit last night when I finished this, just because I wanted to get going on something. So I will continue reading this. As I said, it's Friday, so probably read a little bit more later, and then we have the weekend. Maybe I can finish it and then maybe start one of these books. He did want me to read it in this order. So Bunny, then Belladonna, then the Satsuma Complex. I don't really know. I've actually tried reading this, or not tried reading it, but I did pick it up, and I think I read like the first page and I was like, it's not for me. So I don't know. It's just like a book that I bought, and now that I have it, I have no desire to read it. Belladonna, I was actually already thinking of grabbing, so it's interesting that randomly he picked it. I don't know why I was thinking of grabbing it, because I think it's a book I'm not gonna like, but I think it's sapphic as well. But I don't know, I was kind of looking at it on my shelf and I was thinking maybe it's time to start reading that. But I've not read anything from it. I've not read even one line from this book, so I have no idea what the writing's like or anything. But anyway, we started Bunny, so I'm going to read Bunny. I don't know if I'm going to do any of those books in this vlog, but we'll just see. I'm just going to try to do weekly vlogs, be realistic with how much I read every week, and if I just read you again this week, fine, whatever. It is what it is. Hey, so I thought I'd do an update. It's been a while. I've barely done any updates so far for this reading vlog. I don't even know if I was going to post it, but I am sitting out. It is lovely blue sky. So I'm actually reading Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I'm on page 82, chapter 10. I'm finding it so dull. I mean, it says it's it's like deliciously deadly, and secrets, curses, mystery, romance, and death, addictive, darkly twisted. You know, all of these, I guess, like trigger words. But I'm finding it so boring. I'm struggling to read. It's like 400 pages too, and I feel like it could have definitely been condensed down to 300 so far. I think like it started off good, and then now I'm just really, really bored. So she's ended up at Thorngrave Manor, and that's about it. That's like all I mean, it's about this girl called Signa, who's had death on her sort of tail for her whole life, and he's like basically keeps coming, but she can't die. Like he keeps coming to like finish it off, but for whatever reason it's like never her time to die. But she feels like she's cursed or something, and like people around her always die and stuff like that. So whatever, there's that. And so yeah, we're just hanging out. I'm trying to read it, but it's just, I don't know, I'm really struggling to motivate myself to carry on. I do feel like I would like to DNF it at this point, but I'm gonna get to the 100-page mark and see if it gets a little bit better. I mean, I feel like the first 30 pages I enjoyed, but now it's like a drag. So I'm hoping that there's just like I've just read like 2 chapters and I feel like nothing happened in those chapters. So like there's just too much in this. Like, I just hate books where they have chapters of literally nothing. Ah, look at me. Haha, it's just peeped out now. So hopefully I'm sitting in a little bit in the shade, but eventually this won't be in the shade much longer. So yeah, I'm gonna read, I guess, 20 more pages. See if I can get through 20 more pages, and then we'll go, right, puppy? Sweet, yeah, my little old man. He's a 12-year-old Boston Terrier. Yeah, but he's good. He's good. My cutie. He's the OG baby. His funny little teeth. OG baby. It's been about a week since I read Bunny, and I wanted to stew on it because this is a book. This is a book. Oh my goodness. I can understand why people hate this book. I completely get it. Because I was not liking this book. I started reading it and I was thinking, it's gonna be like a 3-star. And I was thinking, this is gonna be silly. This is kind of annoying. You know, all the bunnies. Oh, we love you so much, bunny, blah, 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 blah. It's just constant. And it was getting on my nerves. But this is so unhinged. This is so ridiculous, this book. And I loved it at the end. I loved it and I gave it 5-star. I completely understand why people hate this book. I really, really do. But it worked for me. And I have to say, there was a part in the book where I kind of guessed something and I was right. So I don't know if I'm psychic or if it just was kind of obvious, but I did guess something, just kind of a reveal at the end. However, it didn't ruin the book for me because ultimately this book is about loneliness and trying to find your home, your community, something that you belong to. And a lot of the times people end up in cults because they have that want and that need to find a community, find a home and everything, and they're susceptible to, you know, I don't know, people, I guess, offering that to them. So this is a horror book about, it's like a cult, but it's beyond the realm of reality, and you really are down the rabbit hole in this, I guess. You know, this really reminded me of a lot of people were saying it's like Mean Girls, which I didn't get that at all. Like, there's a reference to Clueless, there's reference to Mean Girls. I did not get any of that while reading this. What I got was Heathers. So if you've seen Heathers with Winona Ryder, it's a really old, not really old, but it's an older movie, and it's got Christian Slater in it. While I was reading this and it was getting more and more deranged, I was thinking of Heathers, because is it called Heathers? Which is basically more like a high school story, but it's about these 4 girls. They're all called Heather. They're all friends, but they're all nasty and bitchy and horrible, like the mean girls of school, right? But in that, you have Winona Ryder, who's the outsider, and she meets Christian Slater, and he's this dark, mysterious guy, and you have that in this book too, in a way, but I don't want to spoil anything. And I was so giddy because towards the end of the book, I think it's, yeah, page 320, it said this: he let go of my face, becomes Mr. Intensely Sincere, Christian Slater with the bomb in his trench coat pocket, Christian Slater with the baboon heart. That is a Heathers reference. Nobody, like, is anybody getting that? I mean, maybe I'm just old, but this is very, very influenced by that in a way, I think. But it was fun. This is such a fun book, but also just completely unhinged, completely deranged. I don't know who I would recommend this book to because I didn't like it. Like, I like, that's the thing. I didn't like the first, like, I would say third, maybe even half of the book, I was like, oh, not that I didn't like it, but I was like, I'm gonna give this like a 3-star. But something about it, I just couldn't put it down once I really like got into it. I was just like wanting to see what was gonna happen, and I really liked the ending. Now the ending is really like, what the fuck? Like literally like the last line, you're like, what? And I love that. I loved it because it's up for interpretation. You're like, what the hell? What is fucking real or what is not? You know, I'm sorry I'm swearing, but like that's how this book made me feel, and loved it, loved it. So I gave it a 5-star, but I wanted to stew on it. It's been like a little over a week since I finished this, and I did obviously start reading Belladonna, which I actually have finished now. So I wanted to like think about this for a little bit. Definitely make sure that yes, it is a 5-star for me, and absolutely it is. I'm definitely gonna be on my top books of the year. It's just so weird. It's a weird book. And I can get why people don't like it, because people don't like weird books. Or it just doesn't work for them, but it worked for me, so I don't know what that says about me. Anyway, so Belladonna, I did have a little clip before. I was reading this over the weekend, and I finished it last night. It's like 400 pages. It's a long book, and I was so bored. I would say the first half of the book is so boring. It is so boring, and I'm like, where is this going? It's like almost like a murder mystery, but also there is this touch of the supernatural, because you follow Signa, and she is able to see death. So she's able to see basically the Grim Reaper, and he's been like stalking her whole life. And, you know, there's this whole backstory of what happened to her family and everything. She's from a very affluent family. And, you know, when she comes of age, which when she turns 20, she's going to inherit all the money that her family left of her estate. And her estate is Foxglove, which is the second book. And anyway, death has been stalking her whole life. And she can't die. Like, she takes these belladonna berries that are supposed to kill you, and they're poisons for everyone else, but she just can't die, and that's how she's able to see death. And for like the first half of the book, she's trying to, like, she hates him, but it's like they totally are in for each other. Like, you start like getting this feeling that she actually doesn't hate him. And then there's another love interest. It's called Silas, and then there's this whole thing where she's gonna go out into the season, right? So, you know, she wants to be courted, and she's thinking, well, maybe I'll find this nice, lovely man to marry me, because that's what she thinks a proper woman should do. But then all the while, she's with her cousins, and her cousin's super ill. Somebody's been trying to poison her. They don't know what's happened, but they've been given belladonna berries, and it's like this mystery of who's the one who's doing it. And obviously you do find that out in the last part of the book, which I thought all of that was kind of just lame. I didn't like any of that. I'm not a fan of murder mystery, even though, I mean, there was one murder. Her aunt was murdered, but and then her cousin was slowly dying the same way as her aunt from the belladonna berries. But you don't know who it is, you don't know what's going on. But obviously Signa figures it out towards the end, and she can see ghosts and everything like that. She gets possessed in the library. There's just a lot in this book. I find that there's a little bit too much in the book. She has this whole romance brewing with death, which honestly I thought was the best thing in the book. I don't know what that says about me, but it's basically a dark romance about falling in love with the Grim Reaper. That's what this book is, with a touch of murder mystery, family drama, and I don't know, Regency kind of vibes as well in a way. I don't think it's deliciously deadly. Like, I don't know, it's not super dark. I feel like this is definitely, I think it's a YA for sure, and I don't think it's a dark one, but there was a little steamy moment. I'm not gonna lie. There was maybe a couple steamy moments where I'm like cooing over death, which is so stupid. I want death now. I mean, I want him to seduce me. What is going on? But anyway, that's what this book made me feel like, which is so stupid. But it worked. So while I was reading it, I thought, oh, this is like a pure 3-star. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 because at the end of the day, I kind of enjoyed the whole story with death, and I kind of want to read the second book just to see what happens, because right at the end of this book, she meets Fate. So there's this hunky guy that turns up, and he's Fate. So Is it gonna be like a love triangle? I don't know. I mean, whatever. So I kind of want to read the second book. I'm not gonna run out and buy it because it's not like a highly anticipated book for me. But if I get to the point where I can buy the second book, it's like on offer, or I just happen to receive it, then I would be interested in reading it. It's not a series that I'm going to say goodbye to yet, but it's a silly book. It's just got a lot of themes. I think there's a little bit too much in this book. So, you know, you're like jumping from one moment to the other. One moment she's trying to figure out who's poisoning her family. Next moment she's lusting over death. And then the next moment she is lusting over this new guy who's in court who's trying to, you know, marry her, whatever. It's just like, get over it, girl. Yeah, okay, fine. Everybody wants you, whatever. But it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. So gave it 3.5. I thought it's not a 4-star for sure, but I think it's a little bit higher than a 3. And then the third book that I'm going to be reading is actually this one. So what I did with this blog, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I asked my partner to pick 3 books from my shelves and he did it randomly. So this is the third book that I am supposed to read. I've had this for a while now, for like a year. So this is the Satsuma Complex by Bob Mortimer. I had tried to read this. I think I read like a few pages, and it's from a man's perspective, and I wasn't enjoying the writing. So we'll see if it's truly for me. But basically, he goes for a pint with an acquaintance of his, and then his acquaintance leaves and he meets a girl, and he doesn't catch her name, but he falls for her. After she leaves, all Gary has to remember her by is the book she was reading, the Satsuma Complex. When Brendan goes missing, which is his colleague that went drinking with him, Gary needs to track down the girl he now calls Satsuma to get some answers. And it's like a quest, and it's around London and everything. It's contemporary, I believe. You know, it might be fun. It's a completely different vibe to the last 2 books that I've just read, so that might be nice. But I don't know, I mean, it's written by a man. I mean, I'm not sexist at all. I'm really trying not to be sexist, but it's written by a man, and it's in a man's perspective. And I know when I read the first few pages, I was like, I don't know if I want to read this. So hopefully I just get over that, because that's stupid. You know, that is stupid, and that is sexist. But it might just be a book that I can't really relate to. But hopefully I can. We'll see. So I'm going to read this one, and we'll see. And then I will end the vlog once I've read it. Hey guys, so I just want to do a really quick update. I don't want to read this. I've read about like 100 pages. I was skim reading. It was so boring, so not my vibe. It's not funny. I've like read all the blurbs and like the little like forewords and everything, and everyone's like, it's so funny, it's so funny. And apparently Bob Mortimer is a comedian, like a UK comedian. I don't know who he is. I'm sure if I looked him up I might recognize him, but his voice is not funny to me, like his written voice, and it's just too boring. So we're hanging outside right now. It's a nice day, and you know what, when I was reading that book I was like, this is not what I want to read. You know what I want to read? You know what I want to start? The Crescent City series. I'm gonna start this. I'm going to. It is huge. It's obviously the first book. This is House of Earth and Blood. I don't have the third book, but I do have the second book, so if I'm enjoying this, I can go straight into the second book. Obviously, it's a massive book, though, so I'm not gonna finish it anytime soon. It's like 800 pages. Crazy. So yeah, we are chilling. We're in the sun, and I got my bikini on, so I'm not like showing anything. But yeah, it's very windy though. Very, very windy. So going to do that. I'm DNFing the Satsuma Complex. It's just not for me, and I kind of knew that anyway, so I think what I'm going to do is probably end the vlog here, and then probably pick up the next vlog starting this series. So let's do that. But thank you so much for watching. If you did, I don't even know how much I have in this vlog. But, oh, well, anyway, I mean, it was a decent vlog, right? I think I read some, like, good books. I read Belladonna and I read Bunny. Bunny, 5-star. I love this book. I've had to think about it. And obviously, Belladonna is a good book. And after I gave my last sort of thoughts on it, I do, like, really appreciate it. It's still not a 4-star, but I definitely stand by my 3.5-star. And I do want to read the second book. So that is good. So yeah, I mean, read some books, but you know, not my vibe. Gonna go into, yeah, the Crescent City sort of world. So we'll see. I mean, this is urban fantasy, so we'll see if I like it. I don't know. I'm excited. So anyway, you'll have to catch that on the next vlog whenever I'll post that. Anyway, thanks. Bye.